stepped off the transport ship, and took her first breath of recycled station air. Prosperity 7 hung in the darkness of space like a giant metal flower, its docking arms reaching out to welcome ships from 100 different worlds. She was 17 years old, far from home, and excited to begin her new life as an exchange student. Her father worked as a minor diplomat for Earth. He had arranged this opportunity for her to study alien cultures and languages. Humanity was still new to the galactic community. They had only discovered faster-than-light travel 80 years ago. Most alien species saw humans as children playing in an adult world. Weak, soft, unimportant. Did not care about politics. She cared about learning, about seeing the stars, about making friends from distant planets. She walked through the station's main corridor with wide eyes, watching creatures of every shape and color pass by. Some had scales, some had fur, some floated on invisible currents of energy. It was beautiful. She did not notice the group of watching her from across the corridor. They were tall and covered in dark green scales. Their eyes were yellow with black slits like snakes. They were a warrior species, proud and cruel. Their empire stretched across 200 star systems. On Prosperity 7, they were the dominant power. What the wanted, the took. Prince was the youngest son of the Emperor. He had been sent to the station to learn diplomacy, but he had learned nothing except how to make others fear him. He was surrounded by his personal guards and a group of young nobles who laughed at his jokes and followed his orders without question. Watched the human girl walk past, his lip curled in disgust. Humans were pathetic creatures. They had no claws, no scales, no natural weapons. They were prey animals pretending to be people. 3 days later, was walking to her language class when she turned a corner too quickly. She crashed directly into someone tall and solid. Her books scattered across the floor. She looked up and saw staring down at her with cold, yellow eyes. "I am so sorry," said quickly, bending down to gather her things. "I was not looking where I was going." Did not move. His guards formed a circle around them. Other aliens in the corridor saw what was happening and hurried away. No one wanted trouble with the "You touched me," said. His voice was quiet and dangerous. A human touched a prince of the empire. His heart began to beat faster. "It was an accident, please, I meant no disrespect." His hand shot out and grabbed her hair. He pulled her up until her feet barely touched the ground. Pain exploded across her scalp. She cried out, but no one came to help. "Humans should learn their place," said. He threw her against the wall. She hit hard and crumpled to the floor. The nobles laughed. That was the beginning. Over the next few weeks, the torment grew worse, and his followers found wherever she went. They tripped her in hallways. They destroyed her belongings. They spread lies about her to other species on the station, warning them not to associate with the dirty human. Soon had no friends. No one would sit with her. No one would speak to her. She was alone. The station authorities did nothing. The security chief was The trade council feared losing business. When reported the attacks, they told her she must have misunderstood. When she showed them her bruises, they suggested she was clumsy. Sent messages to her father on Earth. He contacted the diplomatic corps. They sent formal complaints through proper channels. Weeks passed. Nothing changed. The bureaucrats told her father that they could not risk damaging relations with the empire over minor incidents. Minor incidents. Looked at her reflection in her small bathroom mirror. Her eye was swollen shut. Her lip was split. Her ribs ached with every breath. These were minor incidents. One night, guards came to her quarters. They dragged her from her bed and brought her to the prince's private compound. Sat on a chair that looked like a throne, surrounded by his nobles. They were drinking and celebrating something. Did not know what. "I have decided," announced, "that this human will be my pet, a reminder to everyone of how weak and pathetic her species truly is." Tried to fight, she scratched, she kicked, she bit, they laughed at her efforts. To them, she was a small animal throwing a tantrum. They held her down easily and locked a metal collar around her neck. For the next month was kept in a cage in its compound. She was displayed at parties like a trophy. She was given scraps of food and dirty water. When she displeased, she was beaten. When she pleased him, she was ignored. There was no kindness, no mercy, no hope. Her body weakened. Her bones showed through her skin, but something inside her refused to break. She was human. Her ancestors had survived ice ages and plagues and wars that nearly destroyed their world. She would survive this too. In her darkest moments, she whispered to herself, "Someone will come, someone will find me, Earth will not forget me." She did not know how right she was. Far away, in a place that did not officially exist, a message appeared on a screen. It contained coordinates, images, and a single word that activated protocols hidden in the deepest files of Earth's military: Prometheus. A man with scars on his face read the message. His eyes grew cold. He reached for his communicator. "Wake the others," he said. "We have work to do." Deep beneath the mountains of Korea, there was a place that no map showed. No satellite could see it. No government admitted it existed. The locals who lived in the villages above sometimes heard strange sounds at night, deep rumbles that shook their windows. They told stories about ghosts in the mountains. They were not entirely wrong. The facility was called Black Lotus. It had been built 60 years ago when humanity first made contact with alien life and learned a terrible truth. The galaxy was not a friendly place. It was filled with species who saw weakness as an invitation to conquer. Earth's leaders smiled and signed treaties and spoke of peace. But in secret, they prepared for war. Project Prometheus was born from fear and determination. If humanity could not match other species in numbers or technology, they would create something else. They would create soldiers that no alien had ever seen before. Soldiers rebuilt from the inside out, faster, stronger, deadlier. Soldiers who could fight gods and win. Commander Park stood in the briefing room and studied the images on the screen. He was 43 years old, but he looked older. Scars covered the left side of his face, souvenirs from a mission that had officially never happened. Beneath his skin, wires and metal reinforced his bones and muscles. His nervous system had been rewired to process information faster than any normal human could imagine. He was a weapon shaped like a man. The images showed a young girl, bruised, broken, chained like an animal in a cage, felt something stir in his chest. It might have been anger. It had been so long since he felt anything that he was not sure. "Her name is," said General Nam. She stood at the front of the room, her gray hair pulled back tight, her eyes like chips of ice. She was the director of Project Prometheus, the woman who decided when Earth's secret weapons would be unleashed. 17 years old, daughter of a diplomatic, she has been held by Prince for 32 days. And the official response, asked, he already knew the answer. Formal protests, diplomatic inquiries, requests for information. The general's voice was flat. They have ignored all of them. The Galactic Assembly has expressed concern but taken no action. Our government has decided that the relationship with the Empire is too important to risk. So they will let her die. They will let her die, the general confirmed, unless we intervene. The door opened, and 4 figures entered the room. They moved with the silent grace of predators, each one a masterpiece of human engineering and ruthless training. Lieutenant was small and slender, with a face that could become anyone else's face. Her skin contained millions of microscopic machines that could change her appearance in seconds. She could walk into any place, become any person, and disappear like smoke. Sergeant was a giant, nearly 2 meters tall and built like a tank. His bones had been replaced with experimental alloys. His muscles had been enhanced with synthetic fibers. He could punch through steel walls and survive falls from orbit. He carried weapons that normal humans could not even lift. Corporal was the team's medic, but that word did not capture what she truly was. She knew how to heal any wound, cure any poison, fix any damage. She also knew how to create poisons that could kill in 100 different ways. Her smile was gentle. Her knowledge was terrifying. Private First Class IM was the youngest, only 24 years old. His eyes had been removed and replaced with targeting systems that could track a fly from 2 kilometers away. He did not speak much. He did not need to. His rifle spoke for him. These 4 plus formed Prometheus Squad 7. There was the Reapers. In 12 years of operation, they had completed 47 missions. They had never failed. They had never left a human behind. "The mission is simple," General Nam said. "Retrieve the girl, neutralize any threats, send a message." "What kind of message?" asked. The general's eyes were cold. "The kind that the galaxy will never forget. For too long, other species have seen us as weak. They have hurt our people without consequence. They believe we are prey." She paused. "Show them what happens when prey fights back." Looked at his team. They nodded. No more words were needed. 3 hours later, a transport ship lifted off from a hidden launch site in the mountains. Its official manifest listed agricultural equipment bound for a colony world. Its true cargo was far more dangerous. Inside the ship, the 5 soldiers sat in darkness, checking their weapons and running final diagnostics on their enhanced bodies. They did not joke or talk about their fears. They had no fears left. Fear had been burned out of them long ago, replaced with something harder and colder. Closed his eyes and thought about the girl in the images. A child who had done nothing wrong. A child who was suffering because the galaxy thought humans were weak. "They will learn," he whispered to himself. "They will all learn." The ship jumped to faster-than-light speed and vanished into the darkness between stars. On Prosperity 7, they continued their celebrations, unaware that death was coming for them. Death wore human faces and carried human weapons and felt human rage. The wolves had tormented a lamb. They did not know that the lamb had family. They did not know about the tigers. They would learn soon enough. The transport ship docked at Prosperity 7 without any problems. The customs officer, a bored creature with too many eyes, scanned the manifest and waved them through. Agricultural equipment. Nothing interesting. He did not look twice at the 5 humans in plain clothes who walked off the ship and disappeared into the station's crowds. Went first. Within an hour, she had accessed the station's security network using a device no larger than her thumbnail. She planted false data, created ghost signatures, and mapped every camera and sensor in the compound. She moved like water, flowing through crowds, changing her face whenever someone looked at her too long. And found positions at key points around the compound. Carried a bag that looked like it contained tools. It did contain tools in a way, tools for breaking things, tools for destroying things, tools that could level a building if necessary. Climbed to a maintenance platform 300 meters from the compound's main entrance. He assembled his rifle slowly, carefully, with the love of an artist preparing his canvas. Each piece clicked into place with perfect precision. When he looked through the scope, he could see the pores on a guard's face. He could count their heartbeats. Set up a small medical station in an abandoned storage room they had secured. She laid out her supplies with practiced efficiency. Bandages, medicines, surgical tools. She had seen the images of. She knew what kind of damage a month of torture could cause. She was ready. And walked toward the front gate of the compound, alone, unarmed, unhurried. The guards saw him coming from far away. They laughed. One human, walking straight toward the most heavily defended position on the station. He was either lost or insane. "Stop there, human," the lead guard called out. He was large, even for a with scars across his scales that showed he was a veteran fighter. "This area is restricted. Turn around and go back to whatever hole you crawled out of." Kept walking. The guard raised his weapon. "I said stop. Are you deaf or stupid?" Stopped 5 meters from the gate. 12 guards surrounded him now, their weapons pointed at his chest. He looked at them with eyes that held no fear, no anger, no emotion at all, just cold, patient calculation. "I am here for the girl," he said. "Give her to me and some of you might live." The guards burst out laughing. The lead guard shook his head. "Humans really are as stupid as they say. Kill him." What happened next would become legend. Moved, not like a human moves, not like anything they had ever seen move. One moment he was standing still. The next moment he was among them, a blur of violence and precision. The first guard died before he could pull his trigger. His hand crushed his throat like paper. The second and third guards fell together, their necks broken by a spinning kick that moved faster than their eyes could follow. The fourth guard managed to fire his weapon, but was no longer where he had been. The plasma bolt hit empty air. The guard died a heartbeat later. 7 seconds. 12 elite warriors, all of them on the ground, all of them dead or dying. Had not drawn a weapon. He had not even increased his breathing. Alarms screamed throughout the compound. Who had been enjoying his evening meal received word that something impossible was happening at his front gate. He summoned his personal guard, 40 of the finest fighters on the station, warriors who had killed dozens of enemies each, warriors who feared nothing. They found standing in the central courtyard, waiting for them. Bodies lay scattered around him like fallen leaves. "What are you?" the guard captain demanded. His voice trembled slightly. He had never seen anything kill so easily. "I am human," said. "I am what humans become when you hurt our children." They attacked. They came from all sides with blades and claws and plasma weapons. They were fast and strong and trained from birth to be killers. It did not matter. Activated his full combat systems. To his enhanced perception, the seemed to move in slow motion. He saw every attack before it came. He moved between their strikes like a ghost. When he hit them, bones shattered. When they hit him, their blades broke against his reinforced skeleton. The courtyard became a slaughterhouse, fell in waves. Their screams echoed off the walls. Green blood pooled on the floor. Some tried to run. His rifle cracked in the distance and they fell with holes in their backs. Had taken control of every screen on the station. The battle was being broadcast everywhere. Millions of beings watched in horror and amazement as a single human destroyed an army. In her cage, heard the sounds of fighting. She heard the screams. She did not know what was happening, but for the first time in weeks, she felt something like hope. When it was over, stood alone among the bodies. 40 warriors, less than 2 minutes. He was not even breathing hard. The door to his private chambers burst open. The prince stood there, his yellow eyes wide with terror. Behind him, hung in chains, barely conscious. "You," whispered, "what are you?" Walked toward him slowly. Each step sounded like thunder in the sudden silence. "You wanted to know what humans are capable of," said. His voice was calm, almost gentle. "Allow me to educate you." Fell to his knees. The proud prince of the empire, who had tormented a helpless girl for his amusement, now trembled like a frightened child. His yellow eyes darted around the room, searching for escape, for help, for anything that could save him from the monster in human form that stood before him. "You cannot do this," said. His voice cracked. "I am royalty. I have diplomatic immunity. The treaties between our peoples protect me. If you harm me, there will be war." Said nothing. He walked past the cowering prince and approached the cage where hung in chains. The girl's eyes were barely open. Her body was covered in bruises and cuts. She was so thin that her bones pressed against her skin. But when she saw his face, when she saw the human face looking at her with gentle concern, a single tear rolled down her cheek. "It is over," said softly. "I am taking you home." He broke the chains with his bare hands. The metal snapped like dry twigs. He caught as she fell, holding her carefully as if she was made of glass. Appeared in the doorway. She had made her way through the compound while fought, stepping over bodies without looking down. She rushed to his side and began examining her injuries. Multiple fractures, reported, her voice tight with controlled anger. Internal bleeding, severe malnutrition, infection in several wounds. She looked at with eyes that promised death. She needs immediate treatment. Take her, said he passed to with infinite care. Save her. I will, carried the girl out of the room, waited outside to escort them to safety. Turned back to. The prince had not moved from his knees. Now, said, let us discuss what happens to you. Please, his voice was barely a whisper. I will give you anything, money, ships, secrets of the empire, just let me live. You tortured a child for entertainment. You kept her in a cage like an animal. You broke her bones and starved her body and tried to destroy her spirit. His voice remained calm, but something dark moved behind his eyes. What price do you think covers that debt? His voice came through his earpiece. Commander, I am intercepting communications. There has scrambled a battle fleet. They will arrive in 6 hours. The Galactic Assembly is demanding explanations. Earth's government is claiming no knowledge of our operation. Expected, replied. Continue monitoring. Saw a chance. While was distracted, the prince lunged toward a control panel on the wall. His hand reached for a red button that would trigger the station's emergency protocols. Explosions throughout the compound. Thousands of innocent beings killed, including the human girl who had just been rescued. His hand never reached the button. 300 meters away, his rifle cracked once. The shot traveled through 2 reinforced windows, crossed the entire distance in less than a second, and removed his hand at the wrist. The prince screamed and collapsed, clutching the bleeding stump where his hand used to be. Green blood sprayed across the floor. That was a warning, said. The next shot will not be. Sobbed and begged and made promises he could not keep. Ignored him. He walked to the room's communication console and activated the station-wide broadcast system. Had already prepared the connection. His voice and image would reach every screen on Prosperity 7, every ship in the sector, every relay point in the quadrant. The galaxy was about to receive a message. My name is not important, began. His face filled millions of screens across 1,000 worlds. I am a human, one of the species you have dismissed as weak, one of the species you have called prey. He paused, letting his words sink in. For 80 years, humanity has tried to earn respect through peace. We have signed treaties. We have made compromises. We have smiled while you insulted us, stayed quiet while you hurt us, done nothing while you treated our people like animals. Behind him, the footage of his battle played on a loop. One human against an army. The bodies of warriors piled like garbage. That era is over. His voice grew harder, colder. The girl who was tortured here was 17 years old. She came to this station to learn, to grow, to build bridges between our peoples. She was repaid with cruelty and pain and suffering. When we asked for justice, we were ignored. When we demanded action, we were told to be patient. He stepped closer to the camera. We are done being patient. We are done asking. We are done hoping that the galaxy will treat us fairly. Earth protects its own. This is not a request. This is not a negotiation. This is a promise. Harm one human anywhere in this galaxy and there will be consequences. Not diplomatic protests, not formal complaints. Consequences. He let the word hang in the air. You have seen what one of us can do. There are more, many more. We are everywhere. We are watching. And we remember every insult, every injury, every drop of human blood that has been spilled without justice. Treat us as equals, and you will find no better friends. Treat us as prey, and you will learn why our ancestors conquered their world. He reached for the console to end the transmission. This is humanity's only warning. There will not be another. The screen went dark. In the silence that followed, whimpered on the floor, looked at him one last time. You will live, he said. You will return to your people with one hand and many nightmares. You will tell them what happened here. You will tell them what we are." He walked out of the room without looking back. Outside, the battle fleet dropped out of faster-than-light speed. Massive warships, bristling with weapons, surrounded the station. Their commander demanded surrender. He threatened destruction. Then he watched the footage from the compound. Then he ordered his fleet to stand down. A single human transport ship drifted past the warships, heading for open space. No one tried to stop it. No one dared. Inside, worked to save life while the others kept watch. The girl was stable now, sleeping peacefully for the first time in weeks. Sat alone in the cargo bay, cleaning his hands. There was no blood on them. There never was. But he cleaned them anyway, a ritual that helped him return from the cold place he went during missions. He thought about the message he had sent. The galaxy would be different now. Humans would be feared, perhaps hated, definitely respected. Was it the right choice? He did not know. He only knew that a child had been suffering and now she was safe. For soldiers like him, that was enough. The ship jumped too, carrying its precious cargo home. 6 months passed. The galaxy changed in ways that no one had predicted. Woke in a hospital room in Seoul. Sunlight streamed through the windows, warm and golden, nothing like the cold, artificial light of the space station. Her mother sat beside her bed, holding her hand. Her father stood by the window, tears streaming down his face. "Welcome home, my daughter," her mother whispered. The doctors said recovery would take time. Her bones needed to heal properly. Her body needed to regain its strength. Her mind needed to process the trauma she had experienced. They gave her medicine and therapy and told her to rest. But was stronger than anyone knew. Within weeks, she was walking. Within months, she was running. The scars on her body faded slowly, but the fire in her eyes burned brighter than ever. She began to write. At first, just notes in a journal, then longer pieces, then a full account of everything that had happened to her on Prosperity 7. She wrote about the fear and the pain and the loneliness. She wrote about the moment she gave up hope and the moment hope returned. She wrote about the human soldier who appeared like an avenging angel and carried her to safety. "No other human child will suffer like I did," she told her parents. "I will make sure of it." Her story spread across Earth and then across the stars. Humans everywhere read her words and felt something stir inside them. Pride, anger, determination. They were not weak. They had never been weak. They had only been waiting for a reason to show their strength. Across the galaxy, the Empire crumbled. The footage from Prosperity 7 had destroyed Prince's reputation. His family's honor was stained beyond repair. He returned home with one hand and haunted eyes, a living reminder of what happened when arrogance met human vengeance. Revolutionary movements that had been suppressed for generations suddenly found new courage. If humans could stand up to cruelty, why couldn't themselves demand change? Protests erupted on a dozen worlds. The old order, built on violence and fear, began to crack. Within 6 months, the emperor was forced to accept reforms. The caste system was weakened. Laws against torturing prisoners were strengthened. Treaties with other species were rewritten to include real protections, not just empty words. It was not perfect, change never is, but it was a beginning. On Earth, Commander Park returned to Black Lotus. He did not attend celebrations or accept medals. He simply went back underground, back to the darkness where soldiers like him lived, and began preparing for the next mission. There would always be a next mission. Somewhere in the galaxy, another human would need help. Another enemy would need to be reminded. The Reapers would be ready. But something had changed in. When he looked in the mirror now, he saw something other than a weapon. He saw a man who had protected a child. A man who had given humanity a voice that could not be ignored. A man who, perhaps, had done something good. It was a strange feeling. He decided he did not mind it. General Nam continued to direct Project Prometheus from her underground command center. More squads were being trained. More soldiers were being enhanced. Earth's secret army grew larger and more powerful every year. "We are not looking for war," she told her officers, "but if war finds us, we will be ready." At the Galactic Assembly headquarters, a new human representative took the floor. Was young, barely 30 years old, but she had been chosen for a reason. She was smart, tough, and completely unafraid of the alien delegates who filled the massive chamber. The Assembly had been debating how to respond to the Prosperity 7 incident for months. Some species demanded sanctions against Earth. Others wanted to pretend nothing had happened. A few quietly admired what humanity had done. Waited for silence. When she spoke, her voice was clear and calm. "Humanity extends the hand of friendship to all who would take it," she began. "We seek trade, cooperation, and peace. We want to build a galaxy where all species can prosper together." She paused and looked around the chamber. "But let there be no confusion. We are not asking for respect. We are informing you that we expect it, and we have demonstrated what happens when that expectation is not met." The chamber was silent. 1,000 eyes watched her. 1,000 minds calculated what her words meant. "Earth does not seek empire. We do not want to conquer or dominate. We simply want what every species wants: safety for our people, justice for our children, a place in this galaxy as equals, not as prey." She gathered her documents and prepared to leave. "The choice of what kind of relationship you have with humanity is yours. We hope you choose wisely." She walked out without waiting for a response. She did not need one. The message had been delivered. Far away, on a planet whose name translated roughly as Glory of Conquest, a council of elders gathered in a dark room. Their species had built an empire on slavery. They captured weaker beings from across the galaxy and forced them to work in mines and factories and fields. It was tradition. It was their way of life. Word had reached them that a human colony ship was passing through their territory. 100 humans, farmers and engineers and children, easy prey. The War Council debated how to proceed. Capture the ship, kill the humans and take their technology, add a new species to their slave population. One elder, older than the others, spoke last. He had spent years studying other species. He had watched the footage from Prosperity 7 many times. "Let them pass," he said. "Give them whatever they need: water, fuel, supplies. Give it freely and ask for nothing in return." "Why?" demanded the war chief. "They are weak, they are few. We could crush them easily." The old elder shook his head. "You have not been paying attention. Humans are not weak. They were only pretending to be weak, and now they have stopped pretending." He pulled up the footage of the Prosperity 7 massacre. One human against an army, bodies falling like rain. "They have soldiers that can destroy our best warriors without weapons. They have ships hidden in places we cannot find. They have rage that has been building for 80 years. He looked at the war chief with ancient, knowing eyes. "Do you want to be the reason that rage is unleashed on our world?" The War Council voted, unanimous, let the humans pass. The colony ship continued its journey without incident. The humans aboard never knew how close they had come to disaster or what had saved them. Back on Earth finished her book. It was published and translated into 100 languages, human and alien alike. The title was simple: Not Prey. She dedicated it to the soldier who had saved her. She never learned his name. She never saw his face clearly. But she knew he was out there, watching over humanity's children. In the deepest part of Black Lotus, 5 figures lay in cryogenic pods, sleeping dreamlessly. Park, I am, the Reapers, Earth's silent guardians. They would wake when they were needed. They would fight. They would protect. And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, a species that had never heard of Earth intercepted a broadcast. The footage from Prosperity 7. The message that it sent. They watched a single human destroy an army, and they made a decision. They added humanity to their list of species to never, ever anger. The list was growing longer every day. Earth slept peacefully beneath the stars. Its children were safe. Its enemies were afraid. Its future was uncertain but full of possibility. And in the silence of space, humanity had finally taken its place among the stars, not as prey, not as victims, not as the weak species that other beings could torment without consequence, but as equals, as protectors, as a people who would never abandon their own. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humanity was not to be trifled with.